We know Camilla was on the receiving end of some scathing criticism in Harry's memoir Spare, almost 18 months down the track. And we now learn about what was allegedly going on inside the palace at the time. Can you fill us in?
So apparently, Tom Parker Bowles, who's Camilla's son, wanted to come out to refute basically the allegations that Harry leveled against Queen Camilla, which were quite scathing. He basically called her a villain and said she was the person that led to the breakdown of her father's marriage to his mother, the late Princess Diana. Now we know from official sources that that's not true. The king has said that the marriage was irretrievably broken down before he rekindled his relationship with Queen Camilla. There were also reports from the palace that Princess Diana and King Charles were completely incompatible. The age difference didn't help. So, obviously Prince Harry's retelling of this narrative in his book in such a scathing way obviously didn't endear himself to members of the royal family, particularly Queen Camilla. But her son took it quite personally. And apparently Prince William was actually very vocally supportive of Tom setting the narrative straight, but he couldn't come out and say it because obviously it's not his place to say anything. I think a lot of the allegations and that were made by Prince Harry in Spare, he knew that his family would not be able to to rebuff them. And it's unfortunate that a lot of these rumors have been allowed to fester. Obviously, it hasn't done much reputational damage to Queen Camilla because that was a lifetime ago. The public has kind of, got over it. It humanized them in a sense because the human beings make mistakes. It's not necessary for these kinds of things to follow you and follow on. But it's just one of those things that shows why the relationship between the Sussexes and the royal family is unlikely to improve anytime in the future. It's really sad that these two adults, Harry and Meghan, have conducted themselves in a way that will also affect their children's relationship with the royal family. Bizarrely, they've chosen to bestow the titles of prince and princess onto their children, but they have no relationship with the institution or the people that make the titles possible. And it's just stuff like this, like basically insulting his stepmother in his book, that really not only riled up rightly her son and Prince Harry's brother, but also the rest of the general public who think it's catty and immature.
Ultimately, I think, though, Camilla has played the long game and she's come out of all of this looking very good, particularly over recent months. She's taken on such a huge amount of the workload. She really is a rock for King Charles. And I think, yes, you're quite right. Those things all happened a long time ago. And I think broadly the British public have a much better view of Camilla now. But equally, we've seen over recent times how close King Charles and Princess Catherine appear to be. And there was a great piece in the Mirror this week about how Catherine has helped Charles become more relatable. What are your thoughts on that?
I think absolutely. I think the relationship between Princess Catherine and the King is one that the public has really seen as having grown, as having blossomed. We know that the King Charles wanted a daughter. He wanted Harry to be a Harriet, and this was infamously caused a sort of acrimonious relationship between him and his former mother-in-law, Princess Diana's mother. So Princess Catherine is almost like the daughter he never had, and she's always been, really supportive. He was very supportive of her video that she released, where she announced that she was undergoing preventative cancer treatment. In her documentary, or the King's documentary for his coronation, you could see that she was almost like a bit of a rock for him. She's been very supportive during Prince Philip's funeral. She was very comforting to King Charles, and their relationship has really just gone from strength to strength. She's become such a pivotal figure in the royal family and in the institution, and she's very key to his reign now. He's waited his whole life to become king, and the people that he has around him to support him are very important. His son William, his wife Queen Camilla, and Princess Catherine. Even now that she's undergoing cancer treatment, she has 3 children to take care of, and she has a lot of still work to do. And once she comes back in the fold, I suspect, after undergoing her treatment or until she's sufficiently well enough to do that, I'm sure King Charles will also appreciate that added support. King Charles has gone back to official duties, limited official duties this week, because he's been clear that the doctors are happy with his progress. But the kind of support that Princess Catherine has lent him has been, immeasurable. And I'm sure deep down he hoped that something similar would have been the case for Meghan. She would have been a huge asset to the royal family, but unfortunately that didn't turn out to be the case.
Absolutely, and I think it's been great news and a great announcement this week to see the palace say that the king is coming back to public duties. And this week they've also announced a visit by the Emperor and Empress of Japan in June. This is a great forward planning step, I suppose, particularly for Charles getting back to those public engagements. What's the purpose of this visit?
The purpose of this visit is obviously to deepen ties with Japan. You can never underestimate the power, the soft power that the royal family has. King Charles went to Japan on official visits 5 times as Prince of Wales. The more recent in 2008, where he went with Queen Camilla, and so he has, and he went to the enthronement of the now Emperor of Japan. So he has some sort of working relationship with the Japanese royal family. But this is also a stroke of diplomatic genius because it's to deepen Japan's ties with the UK, particularly the economy, signing a free trade deal, which Kemi Badenoch has said is one of her priorities, and the king has a role to play in that. We saw the successful invitation of South Korea's president last year. In the royal visit, you had members of K-pop groups there, and a Korean Premier League football player that were there, really kind of just showing the diplomatic genius that the royal family can exert. And so this is going to be something similar. I'm actually really looking forward to it. I think it's a few weeks before the Olympics start in Paris, and all that pomp and ceremony always make headlines here in the UK, and it's something that's very much loved. And it really shows the value of the royal family. No one does that kind of diplomacy like them.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree. Esther Krakue, thank you as always for joining us.